The research station floated silently in the darkness of space, its metal hull reflecting the light from the nearby star. Inside, Dr. Taewon carefully adjusted his protective gloves before reaching for the containment unit. Through the transparent barrier, he could see them clearly. Dozens of crimson fruits, each one perfectly round and impossibly beautiful. They looked delicious. They were absolutely fatal. Taewon had been studying these fruits for 3 months now. His team had discovered them on the planet below, growing in vast orchards that covered entire valleys. The first survey team had made the mistake of picking one without proper protection. 2 of them died before they could even radio for help. The third survived only because she was standing upwind when the fruit's skin was broken. The station's database had officially classified them as mortis fruits, but everyone called them death apples. The name fit. They looked like apples, smelled sweet like apples, and killed faster than any poison Taewon had ever encountered. Even the air around them was dangerous. The fruits released a constant low-level toxin that could cause breathing problems if someone stayed too close for too long. Today was different, though. Today, Taewon had a human coming to his lab. He had never met a human before. Nobody on the station had. Humans were new to the Galactic Council, having only achieved faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. The Council was still learning about them, still trying to understand what made them tick. There were rumors, of course, strange stories from the few stations that had hosted human workers, tales of impossible endurance and bizarre behavior. Taewon had read the official reports about Earth, the human homeworld. The planet was classified as a Class 12 death world, one of the most hostile environments known to support intelligent life. Everything there seemed designed to kill. The weather was violent and unpredictable. The native animals were aggressive predators. Even the plants were often poisonous or covered in thorns. The fact that humans had not only survived but thrived on such a world fascinated Taewon. He wanted to understand how they did it. What adaptations did they possess? What made them so resilient? The door to his lab slid open with a soft hiss. Station Commander Velthra entered first, her forearms gesturing gracefully as she spoke. Behind her walked the human. His name was Hyunwoo according to the manifest. He was tall by human standards, with dark hair and an easy smile. He wore the standard station jumpsuit and he carried a small bag over one shoulder. He looked completely ordinary, not at all like someone who had survived growing up on a death world. Dr. Taewon, "This is Hyunwoo," Velthra said, her translator converting her words into human-compatible sound frequencies. "He will be working with your botanical team for the next 6 months." "Welcome," Taewon said, extending one hand in the human gesture of greeting he had practiced. Hyunwoo shook it firmly, his grip warm and confident. "Thanks for having me," Hyunwoo replied. "I've been looking forward to this. Your work on xenobotany is famous back on Earth." Taewon felt a flush of pride at that. He gestured around the lab, pointing out the various workstations and equipment. Hyunwoo listened attentively, asking intelligent questions about the research protocols and safety procedures. They moved through the main lab toward the hydroponics bay, where most of the live specimens were kept. This was Taewon's favorite part of the station. The bay was huge, filled with plants from dozens of different worlds. The air was warm and humid, rich with the smell of growing things. "We keep the most dangerous specimens in the back section," Taewon explained as they walked between rows of carefully labeled containers. "Everything back there requires level 4 containment protocols at minimum." "Dangerous how?" Hyunwoo asked. "Toxic mostly. Some release spores that can cause hallucinations. Others have sap that burns through standard protective gear. A few are carnivorous and surprisingly fast." Taewon paused beside a sealed unit containing a writhing purple vine. "We lost a maintenance drone to that one last month." Hyunwoo peered at the vine with interest. "Neat," he said simply. They continued toward the back of the bay. Taewon felt his breathing apparatus tighten slightly as they approached the Death Apple containment area. Even through all the barriers and filters, trace amounts of the toxin made it into the air. Not enough to cause real harm, but enough to make his body react defensively. "This is our most recent acquisition," Taewon said, stopping in front of the large, transparent barrier. Inside, a small tree grew in carefully controlled conditions. Its branches were heavy with the crimson fruits. "We call them death apples. They are extraordinarily lethal." Hyunwoo stepped closer to the barrier, studying the fruits with a curious expression. They look good, he said. They would kill you in seconds, Taewon warned. The toxin attacks the nervous system first, then the major organs. There is no known antidote. Even with immediate medical intervention, survival rate is less than 5%. Huh, Hyunwoo said thoughtfully. Taewon was about to continue his explanation when an alarm began beeping from the containment unit's control panel. He checked the display and cursed under his breath. One of the fruits had fallen from the tree. The impact had caused a minor breach in the inner seal. Not dangerous yet, but it needed immediate attention. Stay here, Taewon said, moving toward the access panel. I need to secure that breach before the toxin concentration rises. He had his back turned for perhaps 10 seconds. That was all it took. When Taewon turned around, Hyunwoo was holding the death apple. The human had somehow opened the barrier's sample port, a small drawer designed for transferring specimens. The fallen fruit sat in his palm, its red skin gleaming under the lights. Hyunwoo was examining it closely, turning it this way and that. Don't move, Taewon shouted, his voice cracking with panic. His fingers flew over his communicator. Medical emergency in hydroponics base 7. Immediate response required. Hyunwoo looked up, confused. What's wrong? Put down the fruit very slowly, Taewon said, trying to keep his voice steady. Do not squeeze it. Do not break the skin. Just set it down gently. Oh, sorry, Hyunwoo said. I just wanted to get a better look. It smells really good. Before Taewon could respond, before he could shout another warning, Hyunwoo lifted the fruit to his mouth and took a bite. The sound of his teeth breaking through the skin was impossibly loud in the sudden silence. Juice ran down Hyunwoo's chin. He chewed thoughtfully, then swallowed. Tastes like a tart apple, he said, taking another bite. Kind of sweet, but with a sharp finish. Anyone else want to try? Taewon could not move, could not breathe, could not think. He watched in absolute horror as the human took a third bite from the fruit that should have killed him before the first swallow. The lab door burst open. Medical Officer Jae-hee ran in, her emergency kit bouncing against her hip. She was breathing hard, her face flushed with exertion. Behind her came 2 nurses carrying a portable medical scanner and a box of emergency supplies. Jae-hee skidded to a stop when she saw Hyunwoo. The human was still holding the half-eaten death apple, a puzzled expression on his face. What antidote? Hyunwoo asked, looking at the neural stabilizer in Jae-hee's hand. I'm just having a snack. Jae-hee stared at him, then at the fruit, then back at him. You are eating a mortis fruit, she said slowly, as if speaking to a child. Is that what these are called? Cool name. Hyunwoo took another bite. Jae-hee's hand trembled as she raised her medical scanner. The device beeped and whirred, analyzing Hyunwoo's vital signs. Her eyes grew wider with each passing second. This is impossible, she whispered. Taewon finally found his voice. How are you still alive? Hyunwoo looked down at the fruit in his hand, then back at the 2 of them. Understanding dawned on his face. Oh, he said. Oh, this is one of those death world things, isn't it? I keep forgetting that stuff that's normal for us is apparently super dangerous to everyone else. He smiled apologetically. Sorry for scaring you. Is this actually poisonous to other species? Poisonous? Jae-hee's voice rose an octave. It is one of the most lethal substances we have ever encountered. You should be dead right now. You should have been dead 30 seconds after the first bite. Hyunwoo scratched his head with his free hand. Well, I feel fine. Actually, I'm still pretty hungry. Long trip from Earth, you know? Do you guys have a cafeteria around here? Jae-hee had been a medical officer for 12 years. She had treated injuries from shipboard accidents, bizarre allergic reactions to alien foods, and even a case where someone had accidentally walked into a decompression chamber. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. The human sat on the medical bed, swinging his legs casually while she ran her 5th complete scan. The readings made no sense. They actively contradicted everything she knew about biology. Hold still, she muttered, adjusting the scanner's sensitivity settings. Maybe there was an equipment malfunction. Maybe the scanner was broken. That had to be it. But the scanner was working perfectly. It showed exactly what was happening inside Hyunwoo's body, and what it showed was impossible. The toxin from the death apple was there. She could see it clearly, flowing through his bloodstream in concentrations that should have stopped his heart within seconds. His liver was processing it, breaking it down into harmless compounds that his kidneys then filtered out. The entire system was working efficiently, almost casually. as if deadly poison was something his body dealt with every day. "How do you feel?" she asked for the 10th time. "Fine," Hyunwoo said, exactly as he had the previous 9 times. "Maybe a little hungry. That fruit didn't really fill me up." Jae-hee's assistant, a young nurse named Kiro, leaned over to look at the scanner display. His face went pale. "Those toxin levels," he whispered. "He should be liquefied by now." "I can hear you," Hyunwoo said helpfully. "Sorry," Kiro muttered. Stepping back, Taewon paced back and forth across the medical bay, his footsteps making soft clicking sounds on the floor. He had been pacing for the last 2 hours, ever since they had rushed Hyunwoo here. Every few minutes he would stop, stare at the human, shake his head in disbelief, and resume pacing. "This changes everything," Taewon said, not for the first time. "Everything we thought we knew about toxicity, about poison resistance, about basic biochemistry. It all needs to be reconsidered. Let's focus on keeping him alive first," Jae-hee said, though privately she was beginning to wonder if that was even a concern. 3 hours had passed since Hyunwoo ate the death apple. He showed no symptoms. None. He looked healthier than she did. Commander Velthra entered the medical bay, her expression grave. "Status report," she demanded. Jae-hee pulled up the data on the main display screen. "The human's liver is metabolizing the poison at an extraordinary rate. His body temperature has increased slightly, and his metabolic rate has jumped by approximately 30%. Other than that, all vital signs are normal. Better than normal, actually." "The toxin concentration in his blood?" Velthra asked, dropping steadily. "At current rates, it will be completely cleared from his system within another hour." Velthra was silent for a long moment. "How is this possible?" Nobody had an answer. "I've sent a message to the human medical database," Daeun's voice came through the comm system. She was the station's communications officer, currently searching through every available file on human biology. "I'm requesting information about human toxin resistance, metabolic capabilities, and liver function. Maybe their doctors know something we don't." "Good," Velthra said. "Mark it as urgent priority." The hours crawled by. Jae-hee monitored Hyunwoo continuously, checking and rechecking every reading. She drew blood samples, analyzed his tissue responses, and ran genetic scans. The human cooperated patiently, answering her questions and holding still during the examinations. Around hour 4, something changed. Hyunwoo's stomach growled loudly enough for everyone in the room to hear. "Sorry," he said, looking embarrassed. "I really am pretty hungry. Is there any chance I could get something to eat?" Jae-hee checked his metabolic readings. They had increased again. His body was burning through calories at an accelerated rate, as if processing the poison required extra energy. "What do you normally eat?" she asked. Food?" Hyunwoo said, confused by the question. "I mean, what kind of food? What is safe for humans to consume?" "Pretty much anything, really. Meat, vegetables, fruit, grains. I'm not picky." Jae-hee ordered a standard nutrition pack from the station's food dispensary, something bland and guaranteed safe for most species. Hyunwoo ate it quickly, then asked for another, and another. By the time he was finished, he had consumed 3 full meal packs, enough food to sustain a being his size for an entire day. "Better," he said, patting his stomach. "Thanks." The response from Earth's medical database arrived during hour 6. Daeun forwarded it directly to Jae-hee's terminal. She read through it once, then again more slowly, certain she must be misunderstanding something. "What does it say?" Taewon asked, moving to read over her shoulder. "It says that humans have no special resistance to this class of toxins," Jae-hee said slowly. "According to their medical literature, exposure to compounds similar to those found in the mortis fruit should be fatal to humans. They list it as a deadly poison. But he is not dead," Velthra pointed out unnecessarily. "No," Jae-hee agreed. "He is not." They all turned to look at Hyunwoo, who was examining one of the medical instruments with mild interest. "Has anyone asked him how he is doing this?" Kiro suggested quietly. It was such an obvious question that Jae-hee felt stupid for not thinking of it sooner. "Hyunwoo," she said, "do you have any idea why you are not affected by the poison?" The human thought about it. "Not really," he admitted. "I mean, I grew up on Earth. We have lots of poisonous stuff there. Maybe I'm just used to it." "Used to it," Taewon repeated faintly. "Yeah, like when I was a kid, my grandmother had this garden. She grew all kinds of vegetables. Some of them were pretty bitter. She said it was good for us, built character or something. He shrugged. I guess maybe humans are just better at handling that kind of thing. Jae-hee pulled up Earth's biological database, searching for information about human dietary habits. What she found made her feel lightheaded. They eat toxic plants deliberately, she said in disbelief. Look at this. Cassava roots contain cyanide. Bitter almonds contain cyanide. Rhubarb leaves contain oxalic acid. All of these are deadly poisons, and humans include them in their regular diet. Not all humans, Hyunwoo corrected. I mean, most people don't eat bitter almonds anymore. And you have to cook cassava properly. My grandmother was really careful about that. You have to cook it properly, Jae-hee repeated, her voice hollow. Meaning if you do not cook it properly, it kills you. And you eat this anyway. Well, yeah, it tastes good. Taewon had stopped pacing. He was staring at Hyunwoo with the expression of someone whose entire worldview had just shattered. What else do humans eat that is poisonous? Hyunwoo considered the question. Let's see. There's fugu fish. That's got tetrodotoxin in it. You need a special license to prepare it. Oh, and mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms are poisonous if you pick the wrong kind. And kidney beans can make you sick if you don't soak them long enough. There's this drink called coffee that has caffeine in it, which I guess is technically a toxin. We drink it every morning, though. And alcohol, obviously. Obviously, Jae-hee echoed weakly. What is alcohol? Velthra asked. It's basically poison that makes you feel relaxed and happy, Hyunwoo explained. If you drink too much, it's really bad for you. But in small amounts, most people are fine with it. There was a long silence. You drink poison, Velthra said carefully, to feel relaxed. And happy, Hyunwoo added. Don't forget happy. Jae-hee sat down heavily in her chair. She felt like she needed to lie down, or possibly scream. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. Humans regularly consume toxic substances not by accident but deliberately, for taste and recreational purposes. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds bad, Hyunwoo said. But yeah, basically. Taewon was typing rapidly on his datapad, pulling up file after file on human biology. Their liver, he said, his voice distant. Look at this. The human liver has multiple enzyme systems specifically designed to process toxins. They have more variety in these enzymes than any other species in the galactic database. They evolved to eat poison, Jae-hee said, the realization hitting her like a physical blow. Their entire species evolved to consume toxic substances. Earth is a death world, Velthra said quietly. Perhaps this should not surprise us. It should surprise us. Jae-hee snapped. This is insane. This is impossible. This goes against every principle of evolutionary biology. And yet, Taewon said, gesturing at Hyunwoo, here he sits. The human gave them a small wave. Jae-hee took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. All right, we need to run more tests. Controlled tests. We need to understand the limits of this ability. Can you metabolize any toxin? Is there something that would actually poison you? Probably, Hyunwoo said. I'm not invincible or anything. I just haven't run into whatever that is yet. I want to test this systematically, Taewon said, with proper safety protocols and medical supervision. If humans truly can process toxins that kill other species, this could revolutionize our understanding of biochemistry. Velthra considered this. Very well, but slowly, carefully. I do not want to accidentally kill our first human visitor. I'll be fine, Hyunwoo said confidently. Humans are pretty tough. Jae-hee looked at him and felt a chill run down her spine. She was beginning to believe him. The testing began the next morning. Taewon had prepared a careful progression of toxins, starting with substances that were mildly harmful to most species and working up to more dangerous compounds. Each test would be conducted under strict supervision, with Jae-hee standing by with every antidote and life support system the medical bay possessed. Hyunwoo arrived at the lab looking well-rested and cheerful. He had spent the previous evening exploring the station, making friends with the crew in the common areas. Several staff members had approached Taewon afterward, expressing amazement that the humans seemed so normal despite being able to eat deadly poison. Ready when you are, Hyunwoo said, settling into the monitoring chair. Jae-hee attached sensors to his chest, arms, and forehead, each one feeding data to her medical displays. The first test was simple, a small amount of a compound that caused digestive upset in most species. Hyunwoo drank it, waited, and reported feeling nothing. His scans confirmed this. The substance passed through his system without any negative effects. The second test involved a stronger toxin, one that typically caused fever and muscle weakness. Again, nothing. Hyunwoo's body processed it easily, his enhanced metabolism breaking down the poison before it could cause any problems. Test 3, Test 4, Test 5, each one more potent than the last. Each one handled by Hyunwoo's system with apparent ease. By day 3, word had spread throughout the station. Scientists from other departments began dropping by to observe the tests. The station's xenopsychologist, Dr. Ji-won, attended every session, taking notes on Hyunwoo's reactions and demeanor. He does not seem to understand that what he is doing is remarkable, Ji-won observed during a break between tests. He treats it as normal. Perhaps for humans it is normal, Taewon replied. Their entire frame of reference is based on surviving a death world. What seems impossible to us might be ordinary to them. Ji-won nodded thoughtfully, adding something to her notes. The breakthrough came during Test 12. Taewon had prepared a sample of venom from a creature found on a mining world, something that paralyzed prey before liquefying their internal organs. It was one of the most horrifying toxins in the station's collection. This is extremely dangerous, Jae-hee warned Hyunwoo. If your body cannot process this one, I need to administer the antidote immediately. Do you understand? Got it, Hyunwoo said. Stop me if I start dying. The casual way he said it made Jae-hee's hands tremble. She held the antidote injector ready, her finger hovering over the trigger. Hyunwoo consumed the toxin. 30 seconds passed. 1 minute. 2 minutes. His vital signs remained stable. His liver went into overdrive, working faster than Jae-hee had seen yet, but still functioning normally. Still winning the battle against the poison in his bloodstream. 5 minutes later, Hyunwoo yawned. Sorry, he said. Didn't sleep great last night. My room's climate control is set a bit cold for me. You just drank venom that dissolves internal organs, Jae-hee said numbly. And you are complaining about room temperature. I mean, the venom's not bothering me, but I really would appreciate if someone could adjust the thermostat. That evening, Commander Velthra called an emergency meeting of the senior staff. Taewon presented his findings, displaying charts and graphs that showed the range of toxins Hyunwoo had successfully metabolized. The implications are staggering, Taewon said. If all humans possess this capability, it changes everything about how we approach hazardous materials, toxic environments, even xenobiology itself. Humans could safely handle substances that we need elaborate containment systems for. We need to verify this is not unique to Hyunwoo, Velthra said. Request additional human volunteers for testing. I want to confirm this is a species-wide trait. Security Chief Bora, who had been silent until now, cleared her throat. Commander, with respect, I think we need to consider the security implications. If humans can casually consume deadly poisons, what does that mean for station safety protocols? What about food contamination scenarios? What if there's a biochemical incident? Humans would be immune, Ji-won said slowly, understanding. They could walk through environments that would kill the rest of us. Exactly, Bora said. I'm not saying this is necessarily a problem, but we need to think about what it means to have crew members who operate on completely different biological rules. The discussion continued late into the station's night cycle. Eventually, it was decided to continue the research, while simultaneously requesting more information from Earth about human dietary habits and toxin exposure. The next morning, Hyunwoo arrived at the lab carrying a small container. I brought something from home, he said, setting it on Taewon's desk. Thought you might find it interesting for your research. Inside the container were various food items, each carefully labeled. Taewon examined them with growing fascination and horror. This one is called kimchi, Hyunwoo explained, pointing to a red fermented vegetable mixture. It's made with bacteria. You let it sit and rot in a controlled way and then you eat it. Super healthy, lots of probiotics. You eat rotted food, Taewon said weakly. Fermented, Hyunwoo corrected. There's a difference, is there? Taewon was not certain there was, and this is dried squid. This one's seaweed sheets. Oh, and these are red pepper flakes. They're really spicy. We put them on lots of things. Taewon scanned the red pepper flakes. His display lit up with warnings. These contain capsaicin. That is a defensive chemical. Plants produce it to prevent animals from eating them. Yeah, it makes your mouth burn. Hyunwoo agreed happily. Some people really love that feeling. There are whole restaurants dedicated to seeing how much spicy food you can handle. You eat plant defenses, Taewon said, for entertainment. Well, also for flavor. Spicy food tastes good once you get used to it. Jae-hee picked up a small brown bottle from the container. What is this? Oh, that's soy sauce. It's made from fermented soybeans. You put it on rice, vegetables, meat, pretty much anything. More fermented food. Yeah, humans ferment a lot of things. Beer, wine, cheese, yogurt, pickles, sauerkraut. Hyunwoo trailed off, noticing their expressions. Is that weird? Yes, Jae-hee and Taewon said in unison. Over the following days, Taewon analyzed every item Hyunwoo had brought. Each one contained compounds that were toxic, irritating, or actively harmful to most species. The kimchi hosted bacteria that would cause severe illness in others. The pepper flakes contained enough capsaicin to be classified as a chemical weapon. The soy sauce had such high sodium levels that it should have caused immediate kidney stress. Hyunwoo ate them all with obvious enjoyment. My grandmother used to make kimchi, he said during lunch, mixing some into his rice. She had this whole process for it. You had to get the seasoning just right. Use the correct ratio of ingredients, let it ferment for exactly the right amount of time. Too long and it gets too sour. Too short and it's not fermented enough. And if you did it wrong? Jiwon asked. She had started joining them for meals, documenting everything. I guess it wouldn't taste as good? Hyunwoo shrugged. I don't think it would make you sick or anything. It's pretty hard to mess up kimchi badly enough to actually harm someone. Because you are already eating controlled rot, Jae-hee muttered. What is a little more harm at that point? It's not rot, Hyunwoo protested. It's fermentation. It's science. It is controlled poisoning, Jae-hee countered. It's delicious, Hyunwoo said firmly. That afternoon, something happened that changed everything. A delegation from the Krovan Empire arrived at the station unannounced. The Krovan were an old and respected species, known for their diplomatic corps and elaborate gift-giving traditions. Commander Velthra assembled a welcoming committee, which included Hyunwoo as the station's first human representative. It was meant to be a gesture of goodwill, showing that the station embraced all species. The Krovan ambassador, Thalvor, was an imposing figure with deep blue skin and ceremonial robes that swept the floor. He presented Velthra with a beautiful basket filled with fruits from the Krovan homeworld. These are considered great delicacies among my people, Thalvor explained, his voice resonant and formal. We hope you will accept them as a symbol of friendship. Velthra accepted graciously, setting the basket on a nearby table. The protocol officer would normally scan gifts later for safety, but this was a formal occasion. Everything needed to follow diplomatic procedure. Hyunwoo, standing slightly behind Velthra, looked at the fruits with interest. They were gorgeous things, purple and gold with a pleasant aroma. Without thinking, operating purely on human social instincts, he reached for one. These look amazing, he said, picking up a fruit. Thank you so much. Thalvor's face went pale. His attendants gasped. One of them actually stumbled backward. No, Thalvor said, reaching out. Those are not for but Hyunwoo had already taken a bite. He chewed, swallowed, and smiled. Wow, that's really good. Kinda sweet with a nice kick to it. What's it called? Thalvor looked like he might faint. His attendants were speaking rapidly in their own language, voices rising in pitch. One of them was frantically pulling up something on a data pad. Velthra's expression shifted from confusion to alarm. What is wrong? The fruits, Thalvor said, his voice barely above a whisper. They contain concentrated neurotoxins. They are safe for Krovan to eat because we have a specific enzyme to break down the poison. The diplomatic reception hall had gone completely silent. Ambassador Thalvor stood frozen, his face cycling through several shades of blue that probably meant different emotions in Krovan culture. His attendants huddled together, staring at Hyunwoo with expressions of absolute horror. Hyunwoo took another bite of the fruit, chewing slowly. He noticed everyone staring at him. Did I do something wrong? You ate poison, one of the Krovan attendants said, their voice high and strained. You ate our sacred death fruit. You should be convulsing on the floor right now. You should be dead. I feel fine, Hyunwoo said. He looked at the half-eaten fruit in his hand. Actually, this is really tasty. Is there more? Thalvor made a sound like air escaping from a punctured container. How are you standing? How are you speaking? The neurotoxin should have paralyzed your entire nervous system. Jae-hee pushed through the crowd, medical scanner already in hand. She had been at the back of the reception area, but she had sprinted forward the moment she saw Hyunwoo eat the fruit. "I need everyone to step back," she said, her voice sharp with professional authority. She scanned Hyunwoo quickly, her eyes darting across the display. Toxin is present in his bloodstream. High concentration. His liver is processing it. Metabolic rate has increased 35%. No signs of neural degradation. No paralysis markers. He is fine. "That is impossible," Thalvor said weakly. "That seems to be our station motto lately," Velthra muttered. One of the Krovan attendants was frantically speaking into a communicator, apparently calling for their ship's medical officer. Within minutes, a tall Krovan female rushed in carrying what looked like an emergency medical kit. "Where is the victim?" she demanded. "I have the counter-agent. If we are fast, we might save him." "Here," Hyunwoo said, raising his hand like a student in class. "But I don't need saving." "I'm okay," the Krovan doctor stared at him. She looked at the fruit in his hand. She looked at her medical kit. She looked back at Hyunwoo. "You ate a death fruit 15 minutes ago," she said slowly. "You should be dead. You should have been dead 14 minutes ago." "He is human," Jae-hee explained. "They are different." "Different," the Krovan doctor repeated. "Different how?" "They can metabolize toxins that kill other species," Taewon said, stepping forward. "We have been researching this ability. It appears to be a trait common to all humans." The Krovan doctor pulled out her own scanner and examined Hyunwoo. Her face went through the same cycle of disbelief that everyone else's had. "This is extraordinary," she breathed. "His body is actively dismantling the neurotoxin. The speed of the enzymatic reaction is incredible. I have never seen anything like this." Thalvor had recovered some of his composure. He approached Hyunwoo cautiously, as if the human might explode at any moment. "I must apologize," he said formally. "This is a terrible diplomatic incident. In Krovan culture, to poison a guest is the highest dishonor. I have brought shame to my people and to our empire." "But you didn't poison me," Hyunwoo said, confused. "I mean, I guess technically you did, but I'm fine. No harm done." "You could have died." "But I didn't." "But you could have." This circular conversation continued for several more exchanges before Velthra interrupted. "Ambassador Thalvor, I believe we can consider this an unfortunate misunderstanding rather than a diplomatic incident. The human is unharmed. No offense was taken." "I took offense," Thalvor said miserably. "I offended myself. This will haunt my family for generations." "Please don't feel bad," Hyunwoo said earnestly. "Honestly, that was the best fruit I've had since leaving Earth. Do you guys export these? I'd love to buy some." The Krovan stared at him in stunned silence. "You want to buy the death fruits?" the Krovan doctor said carefully. "Sure, if they're for sale. They're really good." "They are ceremonial items," Thalvor explained. "We give them as gifts to symbolize trust because they are deadly to most species. To eat one is to show ultimate trust that it has been properly prepared with the neutralizing agent. It is a sacred tradition." "Oh," Hyunwoo said. "That's actually really beautiful. I didn't mean to disrespect your culture." "You did not disrespect it," Thalvor said. And for the first time he smiled slightly. "You simply confused it greatly. Tell me, are all humans capable of this? Eating poisonous fruit? Probably. I mean, I'm not special or anything." This statement led to a long discussion about human biology, Earth's environment, and the general hardiness of humans. The Krovan were fascinated. Their own species had evolved on a relatively gentle world, and they had always been careful about toxin exposure. The idea of a species that could casually consume deadly poisons was completely foreign to them. "We must study this," the Krovan doctor said to Thalvor. "With your permission, Ambassador, I would like to request a formal scientific exchange with this station. This discovery could revolutionize our understanding of toxicology." "Agreed," Thalvor said. He turned to Velthra. "Commander, the Krovan Empire would like to establish a research partnership with your station. We have extensive databases on toxic compounds from across the galaxy. If humans can process these substances safely, there are many applications that could benefit everyone." Velthra considered this. "I will need to discuss this with the Galactic Council, but I see no reason to object. This could be valuable research." Over the next few days, the Krovan delegation remained at the station, working with Taewon and Jae-hee to document Hyunwoo's abilities. The Krovan doctor, whose name was Sulvan, became particularly interested in the evolutionary aspects of human toxin resistance. "Your planet must have been extraordinarily hostile," she said during one of their sessions. "For your species to develop such robust defenses against poisons, you must have been constantly exposed to deadly substances." "Earth is pretty dangerous," Hyunwoo admitted. "Lots of venomous animals, poisonous plants, toxic bacteria. Plus there's the weather, the natural disasters, the predators. And yet your species not only survived but thrived," Sulvan said admiringly. "You became the dominant species on your planet despite all of this." "I guess we're pretty stubborn," Hyunwoo said with a smile. News of the incident spread quickly through the station and beyond. Within a week, Velthra started receiving inquiries from scientific institutions across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to know more about human toxin resistance. Several universities requested permission to send researchers to the station. The Galactic Council formally approved the research partnership with the Krovan Empire. They also issued a directive that all stations with human crew members should update their safety protocols. The old protocols, designed for species that could be killed by common toxins, were inadequate for humans. Dr. Sujin arrived from Earth 2 weeks later. She was a research biologist specializing in human evolutionary biology, and she brought with her a massive collection of data files about human development, dietary history, and toxin exposure. "I heard you've been having fun with Hyunwoo," she said to Taewon by way of greeting. "Feeding him every poison you can find." "It is scientific research," Taewon protested. "It's fine," Sujin said, grinning. "I'm here to help. Let me show you just how weird humans actually are." She set up in one of the station's conference rooms, displaying information on the main screens. Taewon, Jae-hee, Jiwon, and several other staff members gathered to listen. "Humans have been eating poison for thousands of years," Sujin began. "Not by accident, but deliberately. Our ancestors quickly learned that many plants contained defensive compounds, but they also learned that small amounts of these compounds weren't fatal. In fact, some of them were beneficial." She pulled up an image of a plant that looked innocent enough. "This is cassava. It contains cyanogenic glycosides which break down into cyanide when eaten. Cyanide is one of the most deadly poisons known to chemistry. And yet cassava is a staple food for hundreds of millions of humans. We developed processing methods to reduce the cyanide content to safe levels, and our bodies adapted to handle the rest." "Why would anyone eat something that required processing to avoid death?" Jae-hee asked, bewildered. "Because we were hungry," Sujin said simply. "Earth went through multiple extinction events. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts. Food was scarce. Our ancestors ate whatever they could find, even if it was toxic, because the alternative was starvation. Over time, we got better at it." She switched to another display, this one showing complex molecular structures. "This is the human cytochrome P450 system. It's a family of enzymes in our liver that process toxins. Humans have one of the most diverse and robust P450 systems in the known galaxy. We can break down hundreds of different toxic compounds." "This evolved naturally?" Taewon asked. "Over millions of years, yes. Every generation, the humans who could process toxins better had a survival advantage. They could eat a wider variety of foods, which meant they were more likely to survive and reproduce. Eventually, high toxin resistance became a standard trait of our species." Sullivan, who had joined the presentation, spoke up. "But this would require constant exposure to toxins. Your ancestors must have been poisoned regularly." "They were," Sujin confirmed. "Ancient human burial sites show evidence of toxin exposure in the bones. It was just part of life." The rescue shuttle left the station within 30 minutes. Hyunwoo sat in the passenger compartment wearing a lightweight breathing mask that filtered out particulates but little else. Jae-hee had insisted on at least that much protection, though she admitted it probably would not save him if the pathogen was as deadly as reported. Sujin sat across from him, also wearing minimal protection. "I should come with you," she had said when Hyunwoo volunteered. "If this works, we need documentation. If it doesn't work, you need someone who can drag you out." Velthra had authorized the mission with obvious reluctance. "If either of you start feeling ill, you evacuate immediately." "That is an order." The cargo ship loomed ahead of them, its running lights blinking weakly. The shuttle docked with a soft clang and the airlock cycled open. Hyunwoo and Sujin stepped through into a nightmare, The air was thick with a greenish haze. The pathogen, released from its containment, had spread through the ship's ventilation system. Warning lights flashed on every wall. The ship's automated systems were screaming alerts about biological contamination. "Can you breathe?" Sujin asked, her voice muffled by her mask. Hyunwoo took a careful breath. The air tasted strange, metallic, and bitter, but his lungs did not burn. "Yeah, I'm okay. You?" "So far, so good." She checked her portable scanner. "Pathogen concentration is extremely high. According to this, we should both be dead already." They moved deeper into the ship, following the emergency markers toward the sealed compartments where the crew was trapped. The path took them through the cargo bay where the accident had occurred. Broken containers lay scattered across the floor, their contents spilled and mixing with the ship's recycled air. "This stuff was designed as a weapon," Sujin said, studying her scanner. "It attacks the respiratory system first, then spreads to other organs. Death typically occurs within 10 minutes of exposure." "Nice to know," Hyunwoo muttered. They had been exposed for 12 minutes now. They reached the sealed door to the crew quarters. Through the transparent panel, they could see figures huddled inside, wearing emergency breathing apparatus. One of them spotted the humans and staggered to the door, gesturing frantically. "Stand back," Hyunwoo called out. "We're going to open this door. The contaminated air will come in, but we'll get you out." The crew members' eyes widened in horror, clearly understanding what that meant. But they stepped back, rallying the others. Hyunwoo opened the door. The pathogen-filled air rushed into the sealed compartment like an eager predator. The crew members gasped, their breathing masks providing only temporary protection against the sudden surge of toxin. "Move quickly," Sujin said, helping the nearest crew member. "Get to our shuttle. It has clean air." The evacuation was chaotic. There were 8 crew members, all of them from species highly susceptible to the pathogen. They stumbled and wheezed, their bodies already reacting to even brief exposure. Hyunwoo and Sujin half-carried, half-dragged them through the contaminated corridors to the docking port. It took 20 minutes to get everyone into the shuttle. 20 minutes of breathing air that should have killed them. 20 minutes of carrying crew members who were actively dying from exposure. Once the last crew member was secure, Sujin sealed the shuttle's airlock and activated the emergency sterilization protocols. The shuttle's medical systems went to work immediately, pumping antidotes and life support drugs into the sick crew members. Hyunwoo slumped against the wall, pulling off his breathing mask. He was tired from the physical exertion of carrying others, but otherwise felt fine. "That was intense," he said. Sujin ran her scanner over both of them. Her hands were shaking slightly. "Hyunwoo, we were exposed to lethal concentrations of an engineered bioweapon for over 30 minutes. According to every medical database in the galaxy, we should be corpses right now. But we're not." "No," she agreed, her voice filled with wonder. "We're not." The shuttle returned to the station, its medical bay filled with grateful but dying aliens. Jae-hee and her team met them at the airlock, rushing the crew members to intensive care. The antidotes were working, but it would be close for several of them. Hyunwoo and Sujin underwent extensive medical scanning. Jae-hee was nearly hysterical as she examined the results. "There was enough pathogen in your lungs to kill 100 people, she said to Hyunwoo. "Your body just broke it down. Like it was nothing. Like it was ordinary air pollution." "Human lungs deal with air pollution pretty well," Sujin said. "Earth's industrial revolution exposed us to all kinds of airborne toxins. Our respiratory systems adapted. This was not air pollution," Jae-hee snapped. "This was a military-grade biological weapon. And we handled it," Sujin said calmly. "Because humans evolved on a planet that was constantly trying to kill us with diseases, toxins, and environmental hazards. Our immune systems are incredibly aggressive. Our liver can process almost anything. Our lungs can filter out particulates and toxins that would overwhelm other species' respiratory systems." Taewon arrived at the medical bay, out of breath from running. "The cargo ship crew is stable," he reported. 4 of them will make full recoveries. The other 4 are still critical, but prognosis is good. "You saved their lives." "Hyunwoo did," Sujin said. "I just documented it." News of the rescue spread through the station like fire. Within hours, messages were flooding in from across the galaxy. Research institutions wanted samples. Medical organizations wanted to study human immune responses. Military branches wanted to know if humans could be trained for biological warfare scenarios. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Velthra attended virtually, representing the station. She provided a full report of everything that had happened, from Hyunwoo eating the death apple to the rescue mission on the cargo ship. "This confirms what we suspected," the council leader said. "Humans possess extraordinary resistance to toxins and pathogens. This trait could be invaluable for the galactic community. It also raises questions," another council member said. "If humans can survive things that kill us, what does that mean for our societies? For our interactions? It means we have allies who can go places we cannot," Velthra said firmly. "It means we have friends who can help us in situations that were previously hopeless. It means we are stronger together." The council debated for hours. Eventually, they reached a decision. The Galactic Council would establish the Human Hazard Response Initiative, a program that would train and deploy human volunteers to handle biological and chemical emergencies throughout the galaxy. Dr. Su-jin was appointed to lead the program. She immediately began recruiting, looking for humans who were willing to put their unique biology to use helping others. Back on the station, life slowly returned to normal, or at least what passed for normal now that everyone knew what humans were capable of. Hyunwoo continued his work with Taiwan in the Botanical Research Lab, though now his job description included taste testing potentially deadly specimens. One afternoon, a new human arrived at the station. His name was Dong-hyun, and he was a cargo handler assigned to help with the station's supply management. He was quiet and efficient, quickly learning the station's systems and routines. Everything was fine until the incident with the spilled chemicals. A container of industrial solvent had ruptured in one of the storage bays. The solvent was highly toxic, with fumes that could cause unconsciousness within seconds and death within minutes. The automatic safety system sealed the bay immediately, but Dong-hyun was inside when it happened. The station went on alert. Velthra called for an emergency response team, but everyone knew it would take too long. The solvent was spreading quickly. In the time it would take to assemble proper hazmat equipment, Dong-hyun would be dead, except he was not dead. Security footage showed Dong-hyun calmly walking through the chemical fog, apparently unconcerned by the toxic fumes. He located the ruptured container, sealed it with emergency foam, and then activated the bay's ventilation systems. By the time the emergency response team arrived, the bay was already clearing. Dong-hyun emerged from the fog looking mildly annoyed. "Who stacked that container improperly?" he asked. "It rolled right off the shelf. Someone needs to review proper cargo securing procedures." Jae-hee, who had been preparing for another impossible medical emergency, just stared at him. "You were exposed to industrial solvent fumes for 15 minutes. Was I?" Dong-hyun looked back at the storage bay. "Huh, I thought it smelled kind of weird. Is that what that was?" This incident, coming so soon after Hyunwoo's rescue mission, solidified humanity's reputation throughout the station. Humans were not just resistant to toxins, they were apparently immune to most things that killed other species. They could walk through chemical spills, breathe contaminated air, and eat deadly poisons without any lasting harm. The station's crew began to relax around the humans, though there was still an element of shocked fascination whenever a human did something that should have been impossible. Hyunwoo eating lunch became a spectator sport, with crew members gathering to watch him consume foods that were labeled as toxic or harmful in the station's databases. "Is that caffeine?" one crew member asked, watching Hyunwoo drink a cup of coffee. "Yeah, want some?" "That is a neurotoxin. It's also delicious and helps me wake up in the morning."